Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to convene this school board meeting of District 1 right now, and please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and those that are here, please be seated. Okay, before we start, due to the health situation with COVID-19, Yuma School District 1 will hold our meeting to the public virtually via YouTube Live. The public is invited to view virtually on the District 1 Facebook page, where recordings of the board meetings are accessible. I'll now go on to item number 1, which is the call to order, and item 1.2, which is the adoption of the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved by Karen.
Second.
And second by Irene to accept the adoption of the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Now we will go on to item 2, which is reports. The next item is the board report, 2.1. This item provides the opportunity for each governing board member to report briefly on the items such as site visits, governmental relations, conferences, and meetings attended. Is there any board member that has anything to say?
I visited 2 schools. I went North End, Carver, and Pecan Grove, both of which I have great ties with. I was a Pecan Grove student and I taught at Carver, so it was nice to go back there. Different, but I love how they are both taking care of who comes in and out of the school. You have to sign in, wear a mask, those kinds of things. And I asked both principals, what's been their greatest challenge and their greatest joy, or what are they the proudest of? So for both, as for all of us, the challenges, the changes, and the uncertainty, and that's just life, the way it is right now for all of us. But they still had wonderful smiles on their face and great energetic attitudes. At Pecan Grove, we talked a lot about the parent outreach that they're doing, watching the attendance very closely and reaching out to those students and their families who are not attending or logging in, and really following up with emails, texts, phone calls, and actual home visits. And so I thought that was great that so much emphasis is being taken. She had charts and highlighted and notes and everything. And then at Carver, I was very impressed with the whole idea of taking care of the teachers because of the stress they're under, and understanding that we have to support the teachers so that they can then do their job. So both principals very positive, and just it was nice I visited Carver the day before Thanksgiving. So it was nice to see, some of the staff wearing costumes and kind of like a normal kind of feeling.
Halloween?
But they were both very wonderful visits. So.
Oh, great. Thank you, Irene. And anybody else? Today, ASBA had a webinar on equity, and it's a 2-day event, and I attended day 1. And it was very nice to know that District 1, I feel, does a great job with regards to equity. And in today's informational sessions, they were talking about equity for the preschools, equity for special ed, equity for everyone, and I was just very pleased to note, we have special programs for our preschoolers, and O.C. Johnson has a special program in place, as well as Pecan Grove, so it was very nice, I felt, to know that District 1 was very secure in our concept of equity. I think we just do an outstanding job. We'll now go on to item 2.2, the superintendent's report.
Madam President, members of the board, I too participated in the equity event today, and I had the similar takeaway in District 1. Equity is really embedded in our beliefs and in our systems and our practices, and we continue to revisit it. We continue to look at data to make sure that we're maintaining those necessary supports for students, for all students who need it. And I really feel like we are very far ahead of most districts when it comes to that equity belief being embedded in what we do. I have an update on the open seat for the school board.
Awesome.
So we had 3 open seats, and our current member, Teresa Fox,
Yay.
did the necessary steps to qualify. So she'll be installed for another term in January. And one candidate, Faith Clostrike, also took the necessary steps to be on the ballot, and she will fill one of the seats. Mr. Tyree informed me today that he will begin the process of appointing a member to assume the final seat on the board. And then as an appointed member, this person will be required to qualify for the ballot at the next available election.
2 years.
Similar to the way Mrs. Fox qualified for this one. And President Foote, or if you choose to designate someone else, will participate in the appointment process with Mr. Tyree. And that process will be completed in time for the appointed member to be sworn in at the regular meeting in January.
Great.
So, Mr. Tyree, I'm glad to see that he started this process right away after the election, so that we can get it sufficiently publicized and get a good pool of candidates. I also would like to thank the board for taking the time last week to engage in our study session. You took the time to study local data, both countywide and within our district, to evaluate the effectiveness of both our school district's hybrid model of instruction and our mitigation plan, and to consider important feedback from our employee survey. And I'm always impressed by the thoughtfulness and the seriousness that our board takes these meetings and these study sessions to really learn and dig in and ask questions and understand. So I want to thank you for that. Currently, Yuma County, along with Arizona and the rest of the nation, has experienced an increase in COVID-19 cases. This is a cause for concern, and we are continuing our messaging to employees about the importance of following best practices at school and in the community. Out of an abundance of caution, we have had to transition a small number of classrooms to remote learning for a period of time. Some of those cases were in response to symptoms rather than confirmed cases, but we have had some confirmed cases prompt that as well. In only one case is there evidence that COVID was spread at school. It's becoming clear that our biggest threat to keeping our schools open is outside the school and the COVID being brought in from outside, from an employee or a student, or so that's becoming clear. Our schools are doing a great job of exercising the precautions and the mitigation plan. And I'd like to thank Kim Sweeney, our district nurse, Luciana Munoz, our building principals, and our classroom professionals. They're just doing an amazing job of monitoring the situation, of communicating promptly, and understanding what they need to be looking for, understanding our protocols, so that we can take quick action to keep people safe. And our hybrid model reflects the CDC's recommendations, including class size, cohorts, social distancing, mask requirements, hand washing. Our model reflects best practices at every turn. Staying the course with our 2-day option, which represents more than a third of our district students, has enabled us to promote cohorts and social distancing at school. We can maintain that social distancing in class. Our mitigation protocols for managing students or staff members who have been either confirmed or symptomatic reflects a conservative approach based on the CDC's recommended best practices. We have 18 school days before winter break.
Wow.
I strongly urge all employees and community members to do their part by avoiding crowds and large gatherings, by wearing a mask in public, by staying home when you feel sick, and by frequently washing your hands. This is the way we're going to keep this current situation from getting out of hand and having a negative and disruptive impact on our schools. So that's my statement I'd like to put into the record. Do you have any questions or comments?
I have a comment back to about the school board.
Okay, great.
If anybody's listening who is considering stepping forward, I want to urge and encourage them. It's a wonderful way to serve the community, to serve families. We have a wonderful board. We don't always agree, but we are always congenial, and we voice our opinions respectfully. And I've just so much enjoyed the time, and hope that if you're thinking about it, please don't hesitate, or call me or email me, and would love to talk to you, because it's a wonderful way to serve the community.
And it's a great team.
Yes, it is.
Okay, as you know.
I do
Okay,
have
go
a
ahead.
question, Jamie, about the breaks. I know there's the Thanksgiving break, and then how many days before the Christmas break?
So we have Veterans Day is Wednesday, so there's no school that day. Then we have Thursday, Friday, and we have all of next week. And then we have Thanksgiving week, no school.
So I would be,
And then
then
there's 2
that
weeks
number
after
of
that.
days that they're out of
That
school,
number of school days, yeah.
when they come back everybody comes back. It'll be interesting after Thanksgiving to
Right.
see where we're at
Right,
with numbers of,
yeah, and over the holidays, it's gonna be important that people, maintain, be cognizant of the recommendations and.
because those are things we
Stay
have no
safe.
control over.
Right,
And they're gonna be out a whole week versus like previous years, there was only a couple days. But this year they'll be out 5 days
for Thanksgiving,
for Thanksgiving, yes.
last year and this year,
I think that'll be a telling sign of what's going to happen for Christmas breaks.
right.
It'll give us some kind of an indication of where we're going to end up when they come back after Christmas break, so.
And how long will they be off, Jamie, for Christmas break?
We have our 3 weeks
3 weeks.
at Christmas.
Okay.
That one seems to win out in the voting every year, every other year for the calendar committee.
Right.
And
To
parents
my
and
consternation.
employees alike. Moving forward, as you're aware, with our hybrid model, we have 4 options for parents and students, and 2 of those options are fully remote. We have the classroom connected remote option, and then we have the Yuma District 1 Digital Learning Academy option. And you'll remember that that's a separate school that has its own school identification, because our Digital Learning Academy was approved as an Arizona online instruction provider many years ago. I'm not sure how many years ago, but probably close to 10. So since that is one of our options, we have had an increase in enrollment in that program this year. So I've invited Rindy Ward to showcase and give you some good information and hopefully be able to answer your questions about the District 1 Digital Learning Academy. So Rindy?
Hello, thank you for having me. I am going to share my screen really quick. could just let me know with the thumbs up if you guys are seeing it. Hopefully. Thank you, Mr. Shepherd. All right. Board President and board members, thank you again for having me tonight to present about, it's a mouthful, the Yuma District 1 Digital Learning Academy. Just to start out, we, like Mr. Sheldall said, our numbers are up. And so we are currently at 43, which is, like I said, it is up actually a great deal. We usually in the past years have hung out around 10 to 12 in the middle school, and then about 5 to 8 in the elementary school portion of it. So it is an increase for us. This is not just a little overview. I don't know why it's not. My slides aren't moving forward. Sorry. All right, I'm stuck on my slides. Anyways, enjoy the title page, I guess. I'm gonna.
Ms. Ward, I will vouch for you that I did see the slides today.
Oh,
There you go.
can you still see? I'm gonna leave it on this because I can progress on this forward in this way. It's not as large. Sorry about that. I just want to introduce, so I do have on the board meeting tonight with me is Lauren Tuchinski. She is our elementary teacher, and that is a change that we made from this year. We, because of our low numbers in the past, we just had a few in the elementary, and so we had one of the instructional coaches work on a stipend and took care of those students. Also, David Elka, he is our middle school teacher, so he takes care of our 6th, 7th, and 8th kiddos, and has been doing that in the past on top of his alternative program duties. And then Melinda Hobbs, that's the teacher. She's not with us tonight, but that is who I was talking about. So we had teacher working part-time, and that was Melinda Hobbs. And she helped train Lauren at the beginning of this year and helped us set things up with some new curriculum. And then Kayla Compton is our ESS resource teacher. And Carolina, my secretary, also functions as the school secretary, and then myself as the principal. And then just a quick overview, really what is different about remote learning from the Digital Learning Academy versus remote learning from the school is that it's really much more of a co-teaching model with parents really helping be a teacher as well as the instructor, our teacher. And it is a lot of the program really handles a lot of that instruction. It's a gradual release in the elementary, but when we so there's a little more teacher involvement, a little more parent involvement, of course, in kindergarten than there is for the 5th grade students. As we get to the 6th and 7th and 8th grade students, they're able to be much more self-sufficient. And so there is more instruction from the program, less instruction from the teacher, and the need for a parent to kind of co-teach, but they're more really kind of just checking up and making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do at those grade levels. We do have 2 different curriculum programs. We have Accelerate Education for the elementary, and then Edgenuity for the middle school students. And you can see some of the characteristics. So also, when I show you the enrollment numbers, I also want you to understand that there's been about 35 people who decided maybe this isn't for my student and for us, and a lot of them have gone back to their home school and done remote that way. But it is something that's difficult. You don't have as much interaction with the teacher. You don't have that student-to-student interaction that many are used to, and you just really have to have those technological skills, really be willing to advocate. Even in the younger grades, advocate for yourself when you're stuck or when you're not understanding something, and really have good communication skills and just time management. You know, when we bring kids on and when parents and we talk to them about, you still need to get up, wash your face, brush your teeth, get dressed for the day, and really prepare yourself, because you still are attending school, you're just attending it from home. And so that's very important. You'll also notice that the required hours go anywhere from 2 hours for kindergarten up to 6 hours daily for our 7th and 8th graders. Our calendar does follow the calendar of the rest of our schools in the district. So like this Wednesday, we will have Wednesday off, and they will not be required to put any hours in that day. But many do. Then one of the really nice things about this is they have 7 days to complete the work. So they have from Sunday all the way through Saturday. So even though they're, it says they're doing 5 days of work, they can spread it out so they don't have to do as much every day, which is a nice. And you can kind of plan around trips. If if there's a doctor's appointment, it's not a big deal because you can just make up that time on Saturday or Sunday. So to our enrollment numbers, we currently have 43 with 27 total students in elementary and 17 in middle school. Whoops, I'm sorry, it's 26 in elementary. I should have corrected that. My apologies. What we have added this year is the kindergarten. And we did not have kindergarten last year. We just did 1st through 5th grade in elementary. So that's been interesting. Not just for us, but just remote for kindergarten in general has been interesting, I think. There's so many of those fine motor skills, and just welcoming them to school looked a little different this year. Not for everybody, but that is our current enrollment. And I do have Lauren here to talk just a little bit about our curriculum in the elementary. So I will turn it over to her for just a moment.
Thank you. So I am Lauren Tashinsky. Thank you all very much for having me. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of the Digital Learning Academy. It's really been an interesting year so far. It's been a really great experience. So I'll start by talking about the kinders. That's a great segue. So I meet with the kindergartners. We have Google Meets 3 or 4 times a week, and we are working through the 95% phonics program. And so at home, my students have their own little mats with their circles and their rectangles. And then I've made a Google Slides presentation. So I do it in Google Slides, and they do it at home with their grown-up sitting there with them. So we are trying very hard to make sure that our kinders are fully engaged in the learning process and aren't missing anything that they might get in a classroom setting for that kindergarten year. So the Accelerate Education program, it's fantastic. We have language arts, we have mathematics, we have science and social studies for kindergarten through 5th grade at the elementary level. That's true with Edgenuity as well. The one thing that my students always talk about is the science curriculum. They get to do science experiments, and they really love it. So it does require a lot more work from parents than the remote only option connected to the school. Generally, there are a lot of hands-on science experiments, hands-on social studies projects. They're making dioramas, they're going on nature walks. It's a really fantastic curriculum. It really gets them engaged in the learning process. So as the teacher, they submit all of these assignments to me, and I get to see the work that they're doing. So for example, speaking of fine motor skills with our kindergartners or 1st graders, they get to do a lot of handwriting practice, drawing practice. They take pictures or scans of that, and they upload it into the Accelerate Education program. And then I am able to give them feedback. So it's really great for parents who have the time and the ability to support their child's learning at home, but might want some just a little bit of extra guidance from a teacher. So I have a lot of communication with parents. We email all day long with parents. I keep a Google Meet virtual office open. So if a student needs help, we can jump into a Google Meet really quickly. It's been a really great program.
It's been nice to have a full-time teacher. Lauren is just been just such a wonderful blessing for the school, for our online, and being able to take on K through 5. That's not it's not an easy task. So we're very fortunate to have her.
I have a question. So with these projects, are the parents the ones that have to supply all the material for all the science and social studies projects?
That's a great question. Yes, so everything is supplied at home. So I have our first graders did a seed project in science, and so parents would need to supply those things. So get their own soil, something to plant the seeds in, get a seed. So we do workarounds with some of our parents, especially this time of the year. We can't really get a whole lot of seeds at Lowe's. So, we work around things. They try beans instead of planting a row of seeds. Most of the projects are, you can do them with things that you would generally have at home. So construction paper, paper clips, glue. There was one that required a box to make a diorama, but everything that you were putting in the diorama, you could make out of paper.
And Lauren does a really good job helping them find alternatives if they don't have what they're asking for. So. Any other questions?
Also, is this on a tablet, just like the children that are doing the remote learning, or is it a computer? Do we supply that as well?
We do not supply that, so it's any device that they would like.
Okay.
It's a website, so it works on it works on any device.
If they were not able, they did not have that at home, would we provide that material for them?
We could. That hasn't come up, but
Okay.
I think we have. If we needed to, I think we could track down an iPad if needed.
Okay.
One more question, I'm sorry, but are there any special needs students on 504 plans, or English language learners in the program?
Yes, we have some ESS students.
You do? And how do you accommodate that or work with the parents with that? They have
Yes.
iPads.
Yeah, Lauren does a really good job modifying as required by the IEP. And then we also have Kayla Compton, who is our resource teacher. So she's also checking in with students and parents as well.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk about it.
Your enthusiasm is very apparent.
Now we'll go on to item 2.2, which is the High Five program. Mr. Munoz?
Madam President, governing board members, does everybody have their clappers? We're ready. We're going to celebrate our October High Five employees. We had over 93 nominations submitted for the month of October. A difficult task for the Celebrate Honor Committee, but they narrowed it down to these top 5, and we have a special video presentation to share with you all. All right, so at this time, we want to acknowledge each of our employees individually. And we have, I believe, most of our employees on the call. And each employee is going to receive the following items. They're going to receive a high five pin. They're going to receive a high five t-shirt they can wear on Fridays, a high five certificate they can put up in their office, and then a thank you card from our district and governing board members, and more importantly, a $25 gift card from Mr. G's and Chili Pepper that everyone's looking forward to. We want to thank Chili Pepper and Mr. G's. They continue to sponsor our program by donating a $25 gift card to each of our employees, and we're so thankful for that. So our first employee here is from Otondo Elementary. It's Tiffany Sadowski. Sorry about that.
Hello, thank you.
Tiffany, are you there?
Hello, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Tiffany.
Great job.
From 4th Avenue Junior High, Mavreen Fleming. Mavreen, are you there?
Thank you guys so much.
Perfect. And then Mr. James Williamson from Woodard. Not sure if he's on the call. I don't think he's on the call with us tonight. From Castle Dome, Yolba Delgadillo.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Yolba.
Oh, I like her friends.
And last but not least, from Pecan Grove Elementary, Amy Lee Simpson.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you to all of our High Five employees. We're so grateful for all of you and all the work that you do for our district. One more round of applause. Thank you, Governing Board.
I just have a comment. I'm so grateful that we are still doing this celebration even during this pandemic. But I really, really miss the in-person,
Yeah.
Oh,
Getting
me
to
too.
meet-
High fives.
Yes.
getting to meet the high
give
fives
them a-
employees
Yes.
and give them their high five. I miss that. So I'll be ever so glad when we get back to it.
Right.
I agree.
So congratulations, all of you.
Yes, congratulations. Well deserved. Okay, we're going to go on to item 2.3, donation recognition. Mr. Sheldon.
Madam President, members of the board, we have some impressive and interesting donations this month. Under the impressive category, Alice Elementary School, a donation from Carol Clarkson Eklund Foundation in the amount of $10,000 for technology purchases.
Very impressive. Nice.
Pretty open-ended, so that's
Nice.
very generous.
Wow.
Amazing.
Dorothy Hall Elementary, Heidi McElroy, a parent, donated 10 backpacks, hand sanitizers, Lysol wipes, worth their weight in gold right there,
Yes.
and treasure box prizes for all grades. The donation is estimated in the amount of $200. We had an interesting donation from Christopher Wood Enterprise System. He's an engineer from Surveillance Systems Installation, the Yuma Meraki Surveillance Systems Installation. And they had these really heavy-duty wooden boxes that their equipment came in. So they had a whole bunch of them. These are really heavy-duty wooden, that can really be used in like art or industrial art. So he donated,
Wow.
some. 4th Avenue got 75. Ron Watson got 75. Woodard got 50 of these
Wow.
sturdy wooden boxes that can be used for multiple things. I thought that was an interesting donation. Raleigh received a Donors Choose for supplies such as cardstock, HP Instant Scotch Thermal Laminator, and in the amount of $115 to be used for K-3 students. Raleigh also got another Donors Choose giant magnetic early writing page, set of 30 reusable wipe pockets, magnetic teaching clock, and a set of 30 right wipe student number lines for Mrs. Sanchez first grade class, valued at $314. And then Yuma District 1 received a donation from Element Fitness Solutions, 100 face shields, and the donation is used, we've for all teachers and other adults in the district who need them. The value of that donation was $300. And then you've heard a little bit over the course of the year about the APS Supply My Class. So far, 55 district teachers have been awarded $500 Visa gift card. So that donation has an estimated value to the district of $27,500. We had a couple big ticket donations this time, and our monthly total was $39,379, bringing our year-to-date total already to $97,670.54. I'm always impressed and grateful for the generosity of our community for our schools.
On the donation from APS, do the teachers apply for those, or are they just
They're
recognized?
actually drawn,
Pardon?
right? This is the one where they're
I
drawn.
think,
It's a simple application and then they're drawn
Yeah.
randomly.
Drawn randomly? Oh, okay. Nice.
Wonderful.
So that ends my report.
Thank you, Mr. Sheldon. We will go on to item number 3, which is information items. And we will go on to 3.1, which is district financial trends.
Me. Madam President, governing board members, as of October 31st, we have spent 25% of our maintenance and operation budget and 63% of our capital budget. As a reminder, next month, we will have a public hearing to revise the budget according to our decrease in enrollment. So that beginning budget balance will change next month.
Thank you. Do any of the board members have any questions?
I guess on the capital, Elizabeth, the 63.24%,
Yes.
and then for the year, it's 70%?
Yeah, so what we have spent and encumbered, we have 70% spent and encumbered. Do you see the 260 that's encumbered? That hasn't been spent
Got
yet. Yeah,
Okay,
it's open purchase orders that we have.
okay.
Great.
It just seemed like a high number. That was just it
And
just
then
stuck
just
out
a
to me.
reminder, at the beginning of the year, we purchased iPads July 1. So that's why we have such
Okay,
a high year-to-date percentage.
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Now we'll go on to item 3.2, which is the 60th day enrollment report. Again, Elizabeth Valenzuela.
Yes, Madam President, governing board members, our 60th day enrollment shows a decrease of 5.28% compared to last fiscal year. So you see, we're continuing to see a decrease in our enrollment. Again, we will revise our budget accordingly next month, and we will talk about the beginning budget balance and how that's going to affect our M&O.
Elizabeth, we didn't, from the last month, we didn't lose that many students. Oh, how many students did we lose from last month? Can you tell
I'd have to pull up the,
us? So,
let me pull
We
it
actually gained
up.
students from last month.
It looks like
We
it.
increased over the 40th day.
okay,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I wanted to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, great.
In fact, we had a larger increase from 40th day to 60th day this year than we did last year.
Oh, wow.
So our overall numbers are still trending about 5.25% behind, which is consistent with the rest of the state.
Sure.
But we're still enrolling students and we're still seeing an increase from 40th to 60th day.
That's good.
And we're still saying it's because of the virus, pretty much.
Yeah.
We still think it's because of that. Okay,
I think so.
I'm certain of it.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go forward with the call to the public. The governing board welcomes statements from residents and appreciates constructive suggestions and comments that help meet the educational needs of the district. A form to submit your comments or suggestions can be found on our website, www.yuma.org. And this form should be submitted by 4 p.m. the day of the meeting, which is traditionally the second Monday of the month. Is there anything? There is nothing, so we will go on to the item number 5, which is the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
I move we accept the consent agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
Second?
Okay, it's been moved by Irene and seconded by Teresa to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion approved unanimously. We will go on to item number 6, which is the action items. Item 6.1, which is consideration to approve hearing officers for the 2020-2021 school year. Mrs. Alka.
Thank you, Madam President, governing board members. We are just going to ask that we approve the hearing officers for disciplinary hearings. We have 2 at this time, Mr. Rusty Tyndall and Mr. Neil Johnston, that we are asking for approval for that purpose, both of whom have a great deal of experience in school discipline. And I believe that we believe that they will uphold our policies as a district in that role.
So for clarification, Dr. Alka, that's just the 2, Rusty Tyndall and Neil Johnson.
That's correct.
Oh, because
Okay, do I hear a motion then to approve Mr. Tyndall and Mr. Neil Johnson as hearing officers for the 2021 school year?
so moved.
It's been moved by Karen and seconded by
Second.
Teresa to approve the gentlemen that were just mentioned as hearing officers for the 2021 school year. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried unanimously. We will now go on to item 7, which is future agenda items. Are there any board members that would like to request that the administration provide a report on specific items or in the areas of board interest? Okay, there being none, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everyone.